this is Joe Tamargo from WetheadPumpRepair.com. I'm here with my boy Jetta. What's up, my man? Welcome to a special edition of the non-refundable pump rebuild policy. All right, what that means is if you've sent in your pump for repair, or if you're thinking about sending your pumping for repair, we just want to explain a couple things to you before anybody gets frustrated or upset, or just let them know what's going on, okay? A lot of times people think everything is rebuildable, and sometimes, unfortunately, things are not able to be rebuilt. As much as me and Robert, Jetta, and the crew want to help you rebuild something, sometimes you just can't rebuild something. Here's a pure example of a motor that was sent in to be rebuilt, and obviously you can see a hole in the side of it.
We can't do that.
The motor windings look like this. They were completely burnt out. It's completely rotted. Even if we were able to make this motor run for some reason and made the motor spin, right, it's just not safe. Okay, exactly. Oh, nice, exactly. All right, so we also have a non-rebuildable pump policy listed on the bottom of the website. Just scroll down. You can see it. You can read and view the documents and read all about it. But we also wanted to read it to you. Yeah. That way you know we're being fully transparent about the repairs that we do. Okay, so here we go. The wet head pump repair non-rebuildable pump policy. The scope of the wet head pump repair standard rebuild. Okay, so what does that mean? What do we do on the standard rebuild? Okay, the standard rebuild, the wet head pump repair standard rebuild consists of replacement of the pump seal, the bearings, and the repainting only. So basically, if you have a pump that is making noise, if you have a pump that's leaking, we are more than happy to sell you the parts and change those parts for you, okay? Unfortunately, we are technicians, but we're not magicians. Yes. So if you have a pump that looks like this that's been rotting outside for years, we can't fix that. We're not we're not welders. We can't rewind the motor. You know what I mean? We don't own an iron plant. Yes. If your pump is making noise because these bearings have gone bad, right, and it's grinding, we can change that out with brand new bearings for you, okay? And you know what I mean? If your seal is leaking, we can change a seal, because a lot of people say, well, if you can't fully rebuild a pump, you know what I mean, then why would I send it to you? Well, what happens if you're a housewife, or what happens if you're disabled, or what happens if you you just don't have time because you're taking care of your children as a husband, and you're in your man cave, or you maybe just don't want to do it because you make a lot of money and you're like, hey, I don't want to get my hands dirty. Then you know what? You could buy the parts for $29, but at the same time, we'll change the parts. We just don't want you to think that you could send us anything in the world and then we're just going to fix it for you, because we're not. We'll change the bearings, we'll change the seals. If you need gaskets and stuff like that, we can help you out with the gaskets and even a capacitor, but we're not going to weld motors back together. All right, so let's get started in paragraph number 2.
Yes.
All right, damage in shipping. So let's just say you ship us the pump, right, or we ship you the pump, and something happens, right? God forbid. We know that UPS is a great service, and they never would throw a box. They never would. They never would. Wet head pump repair is not responsible for damage to the pump and motor caused by improper packaging on items shipped to us, nor the freight a claim allowed for improper packaging by the customer. Okay? Believe it or not, me and Robert and the crew have seen guys put pillows in boxes, wrap it up in beach towels. Yeah. You gotta use packing peanuts. So if you're gonna ship us a pump, use packing peanuts, styrofoam, something like that. You know what I mean, where it's gonna be strong enough. You know what I mean? Don't be using like an old wine box with a pillow. Right. It's probably gonna get smashed up. All right. Please make sure that your pump and motor is packaged in a sturdy box with adequate cushioning, like I just explained, to avoid damage. Freight damage claims are only allowed when the pump and motor have been adequately packaged and rough handling by the shipper has resulted in damage. Wet head pump repair will make no efforts to restore pump damage in shipping working condition, but additional labor parts will be applied to ability to restore the pump in working condition and subability for new repair and used parts. What that means is, you know what I mean? We're willing to help UPS fix the pump if they pay us for your improper shipping, but we're not going to pay for it out of your pocket. Like, in other words, if you ship us a pump, in a pillow in like a cheesy box and it gets smashed on the way here, and somehow UPS pays you for that, okay, we're willing to refix the pump as long as you get the claim, but we're not going to pay for anything you ship to us. Okay? In the event that the pump and motor is damaged in transit and deemed by us to be non-repairable, like something like this, due to the extent of lack of damage of parts availability, the customer is responsible for the shipping fees and the bench testing fees. There are minimum shipping and bench testing fees written below, which basically means under no circumstances, if you mail in your pump and it's fixable or not, we're going to charge you the $30 to get the pump here, $25 bench fee, which, because the mechanics are looking at it and deeming it that. So you always will pay the $30 shipping on the way in and the $25, no matter what, if we can fix your pump or not. Hopefully we can fix your pump. Like I said, if you're honest about it and you say, hey, you know what, I know it's just the bearings, just sealed, if I need a couple of gaskets, whatever, pay $10 extra for that, that's cool, but don't send us stuff that looks like this. All right, go ahead, man.
Yes. Pumps in and beyond the scope that we repair, it's not going to happen. Wet head pump repair is not responsible for shipping fees or bench testing fees on the pumps and motors when motors shipped to us in conditions beyond the scope of our repair.
That means that, right?
This here, we're not going to do it. Rebuild described above. You know, we just talked about that. Okay, where we at? Customers sending in motors with damage such as, but not limited to, cracked, broken, wet ends, damage free from freezing, missing parts, motor casings, rusted through, burnt out motors.
Yeah, there you go. There's a burnt out motor right there for you, right?
Parts broken such as end bells and internal switches, and the components damaged by improper assembly techniques will be responsible for shipping fees and bench testing fees. See our minimum shipping bench fees written below.
All right, so you know what that means. Right, exactly. All right, so wrapping up on the last page, I'll wrap it up real quick for them, all right? We got 2 minutes on the camera, Robert's explaining to us. All right, so if you have a pump that is, how do I have a pump beyond the same? If you have a pump and motor that is damaged beyond the scope of our wet head pump repair standard building, we would like to help you and rebuild your pump and motor. However, we would like to be given accurate information on the pump and motor manufacturer and model along with the accurate information on the actual condition of the pump. So if you're worried about it and you're not sure, that means just call us. Like, hey man, this thing's rotted through. Dude, we don't want it. Just tell us before you send it. That means call us if you're not sure. We have an extensive inventory of new and used parts, which is true. You've probably seen us blasting them across the internet for pumps and motors. So in many cases, if you have something that's totally damaged, we may have a core for it. We may have a used wet end if your wet end is cracked. If you get permission from us to send something like that, we may have it. We have an extensive inventory, like I just touched on. Pumps and motors in that condition should be always discussed with either by phone or email, like I just iterated on, or in the pump repair forum. Wet head pump repair standard rebuild, or you remember the pump repair standard rebuild, or your remodel. If you remember, it just includes bearings and seals and everything else. Otherwise, you are going to be responsible. If you send in a motor like this, it's going to be there. You can read it for yourself right there. Right. But basically, wet head pump repair standard rebuild, or you'll be responsible for the shipping fees and bench shipping fee. Okay, and we'll say it one more time. The minimum shipping fees is $30 in, $25 for a bench fee. All right, more information on the web. Thanks for watching. This is Joe Tamargo. Peace out.